So now, presenting my entire screen. All right, I'll give you a pre-assessment, which we reviewed the results, but that pre-assessment was on synchronous and asynchronous. So we just completed the pre-assessment quiz, and you saw the results. But what you got from watching the video was the definition of terms synchronous and asynchronous. Loading, 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 wait patiently. Okay, synchronous, the definition is occurring at the same time. That's the definition of synchronous. Traditional classroom learning is synchronous because you're all doing it at the same time. Asynchronous is not occurring at the same time. Digital learning is asynchronous because it can happen at a different time. Now, let me back up one. If you're watching live digitally, that's synchronous. So all of you that are online on Google Meet right now, that you're in synchronous learning. However, the video I sent you to prepare, that was asynchronous, because I don't know if you did it last week or yesterday or this morning. Didn't matter. Asynchronous is not occurring at the same time. Digital learning is asynchronous. So an overview of blended learning is blended learning means some learning in the classroom and some learning digital. Therefore, that's for math, therefore, some learning is synchronous and some learning is asynchronous in blended learning. That's all it means. So 2 ways to look at it. Blended learning is some learning in the classroom and some learning digital. Therefore, some learning is synchronous and some learning is asynchronous. All right, discussion question. Let's do this discussion live. Okay, so if synchronous and asynchronous learning blended means some is in the classroom, some is synchronously outside the classroom. Asynchronously means I sent some digital content like a video or a paper for you to read or a questionnaire for you to take. That's blended learning. Let's start in the room. Raise your hand if you want to give an answer. What are some benefits of blended learning for students? Put yourself in the perspective of a student. What is a benefit? Yes, Ms. Frost.
More flexibility.
More flexibility in terms of... Okay, so if a student is sick or for some reason they can't be there, then they have flexibility. They still can get the material and keep up, right? Okay, who else? Ms. Schmitz.
Students can go back and review lessons if they forget something.
Ooh, students can go back and review lessons if they forget something. Yes, great benefit for students. Good. What else in the room? Yes.
I kind of look at it from the other perspective. You know, with this, if there's a student that has to get home, they can still be part of the classroom, whereas I felt like before it was very separate.
Okay.
So blending means having it still, they're not there in the classroom, but yet they're still involved in the class in present time.
Yes. So Ms. Sluderman said, if I may summarize, even though they're not able to be in the class, they still feel a part of the class. And without that, they were feeling disconnected. So that's good. Tell you what, I'm gonna unshare my screen while we're doing this. One moment. I'm new to this too, y'all. All right. Let's get another one from the room. A benefit of blended learning for students. Anybody? Can you think of another one? Yes, Ms. Schmitz.
I think it might keep them more engaged because they're using technology.
Yes. Okay. Ms. Smith says it might keep them more engaged because they're using technology. Yes, that's in fact true. Students want to use the technology. So it gives them something to do that engages them more. than just listening to us talk or reading. Okay, let's go to our Google Hangout here, our Meet. Raise your hand and then I'll call on you. Somebody online, give me a benefit, Ms. Williams, for students.
I think it helps because there's no distractions. The kid tapping his pencil next door and all the other things that are going on in the room. You might have heard it one time, but if you can go back and do that, then you can focus on it.
You can focus on it. So there's no distractions. When you're able to do it asynchronously, you can say, okay, I'm going to learn this right now. Whereas another time they may have had some sort of attention deficit. Let's have another one from the Google Meet. So raise your hand. We're talking benefits for students of blended learning. It's okay, don't be shy. I'm looking to see what else you're doing in there. Yes, Dr. Hollenbeck.
Well, I just slipped off and had a phone call that I've never experienced before. This time around, we're experiencing all these things that are brand new. This was a grandmother from Alaska whose family had moved away from Fort Smith a couple of years ago. And the kiddo went to school at IC, but now is at school in Alaska. And her only option is virtual. And she said, if I'm going to do virtual in Alaska, can I just do virtual at Trinity? So I guess that's a benefit. We could serve kids, thousands and thousands of miles away. I thought that was fascinating.
They can receive a Catholic education. I'll go so far as to say a Southern Catholic education.
That's right.
From Alaska. That's awesome. Don't tell Mike Carlton about that. He'll
I
start.
know. Whole new market.
All right. There's a benefit. They couldn't come to Trinity otherwise. What's another benefit from the Google Hangout for students? Anybody? Sarah, you there? Sarah. We got to have one more. Scraping the bottom of the barrel. Okay, I think we got enough. Next question for the room. What is a benefit of blended learning for parents? Raise your hand. Benefit for parents of blended learning. Anybody? Yes, Ms. Schluterman.
I think I've had a lot of parents say, I wish I could learn it too, so that I can help them when they get home. Well, now they can watch that video.
Exactly.
To get in the classroom and they don't have to worry about it.
So what Ms. Schluterman said was she's had parents tell her, I wish I could learn it too. Nothing more frustrating than I don't know how to do that as a parent. So the parent can learn it too. Good. What's another benefit for parents, blended learning from the room?
They can be part of the process, like she said, learning together.
Good. Manuel said they can be part of the process of learning together. That's right. Otherwise, it's just like you ask the kid, well, what did you do in class today? And what does the kid say? Nothing. Parent has no way to verify this. All right, let's move to the internet, our Google Hangouts. Somebody raise your hand and answer the question. What is a benefit for parents of blended learning? Dr. Hollenbeck.
I always think it would be really great for the parents to see how hard the teachers are working.
Yes. To see how hard the teachers are working. And that's good. Perhaps some of us have a fear of, I don't want anybody to see what I'm doing. But the truth is, you all are excellent teachers. I'll never forget when the superintendent, Teresa Hall, came from the diocese, and I had responsibility for classes, and I brought her in and surprised you all. It was awesome. It's like you couldn't have planned it any better because you were all giving excellent lessons. Students were behaving. Okay, another one from the Google Hangout. Raise your hand. Give me a benefit for parents of blended learning. Anybody? A benefit for parents. Yes, Ms. Williams.
I think there's material there. It's one thing to tell your child and you're watching them and they're doing their work and it's a textbook and it's paper, but they can see the video, they can see the lesson. You can kind of keep connected a little bit with them and help them stay on track just a little bit better, because it's right there and you can see what's going on.
That's right. So as a parent, you can see and keep them on track, keep the students on track better. So, all right. Anybody want to add a benefit for parents? Okay. And last, but only because y'all are so humble, somebody in the room tell me a benefit of blended learning for teachers. Yes, Ms. Marsh.
If you are out of the classroom for any reason, you have continuity because it's your lesson teacher.
Yeah, if you have to be out of the class for any reason, you can keep continuity in the class by giving them the lesson for them to participate in and watch and do. What's another benefit from the room for teachers? Yes, Ms. Smith.
I think it allows you to be more creative.
Okay, it allows you to be more creative and get more involved in the lesson. I've always felt like the teacher learns the most, and it really gives you a chance to learn more. Yes, Senor Inez.
Yes, I think that it's important to be connected then and letting know that even though we are not in the same room, we're still here for them. That we can help them in any way and making sure to check on them and, not just teaching, but just talk about life.
Yeah, it gives you a way to be connected with them. That's what Senor said. To stay connected with them, that you care about them, and it gives us a new way to communicate. Young people, I'm just commenting here, young people form relationships with people they don't even know through the internet. And it's like a wavelength that they're on. So, you can be expressive and creative through videos. All right, let's move. Any more in the room? Benefits for teachers? Let's move to our Google Hangout. Raise your hand and give me a benefit of blended learning for teachers. Thinking. No, I'm not going to call on you, Dr. Hollenbeck. Call on you.
I'll wait.
I'll go.
Ms. Williams, you've already answered. We've got to hear from you. All right, Ms. Hurst. Everybody else mute momentarily. Ms. Hurst.
Well, I mean, I think it helps you in your planning process. You have to think how to reach people in different ways. So the more you plan to do that, the easier it is to reach everybody. And I also think it helps for those that are absent. Like sometimes when kids come back, I'm like, you've been gone a week. I don't know what we did. I mean, like I have to go back and think about all that, So if it's all there, then we're all together. We're trying to stay caught up together.
Exactly. Okay. So you all heard that? I think you hit a couple of them. The last one was, student comes back and say, what did we do last week? All right, so it gives you something. And you also, you hit two of them, so Ms. Hurst is catching up. The first one also was it helps you prepare. Now, many of us are going to think, oh, this is worse. But it actually helps you because we're going to cover in the next topic. You got to be organized. All right, Dr. Hollenbeck, did Ms. Hurst say what you were going to say?
Yes, she took my answers.
I knew. Ms. Williams? Ms. Williams, did she take your answer?
I think one more thing is for me, I forget sometimes what I told second period and what I told fourth period. And I feel like if I could go back and go, yes, I covered that, or, oh no, I left that part out, that would help me. That's probably around the planning part of it. But that caught me off guard a lot with what we did. It's like you missed a class one day because of an assembly. You've got that lesson there and they still don't miss out.
Yes. So you can remember what you did. If they miss it because of assembly, they don't miss out. Anybody else? I'll give one that I heard in researching this. A teacher said it helps in classroom management. Because if a student tells you, I finished all my work, I don't have anything to do. Well, they can rewatch a lesson from another class. Or if you as a teacher, you give them lessons they're going to do asynchronously, it means that you as a teacher, if you have a student that is not occupied, you have a higher chance of they have work that they can do. Okay, so it gives you more things that you can expect students to be engaged all the time, because we're creating content that they can reuse and reuse and reuse. It's like, watch Miss Smith's lesson again. Don't tell me you've already, do you have an A in Miss Smith's class? If not, watch it again. Okay. And the number one reason, benefit for teachers, is you can mute a student by clicking this right there. All right. But that only works online. You can't mute somebody in the room. All right. Good discussion. Anything else anybody want to add? All right, so we're in agreement. I didn't hear anybody arguing. We're in agreement there are many, many benefits to this. It has nothing to do with COVID-19. Nobody said the obvious benefit is it helps reduce the probability of sharing the virus. All right, so these benefits were there anyway. If we fast forward to 2030, we would be doing this anyway. We're just having to rip the Band-Aid off and do it now. That's all right. We're going to have students from Alaska because of it. Okay, let me share my screen again. Present now, present now. One moment, please. Let's see, it is 10 after 2. Just checking the clock. All right. There are benefits for students. There are benefits for parents. There are benefits for teachers. All right. There's two kinds of blended learning. Option one is instruction in class and streamed with follow-up to activities and assessment online. That's what we're doing right now. This is option one. Instruction in class and streamed for the people that are somewhere else. And follow-up activities, like I'm going to give you some assignments and things online. Okay. Option two is more creative. Assign content learning that is baseline information outside of class. Clarify and answer questions in class. Work problems and discuss in class to achieve depth and application. I did this to you. Does anybody, can you tell me where I did this? The video. I had you learn the difference between synchronous and asynchronous outside of class. I didn't have to spend a whole 30 minutes on it and tell you the story about my mother-in-law's flowers and synchronized swimming. I had you do that on your own time somewhere else. I just had to give you a quiz and find out who knows and who doesn't. In fact, by that quiz, I found out that half of you already have mastered that and half of you haven't. So if I'm really creative, I can say, okay, those of you that got 7 or less on that quiz, you're going to do this assignment. Those of you that you got a 10, you're going to watch this video. And by the end of class, we'll all be where we should be. Or those of you who got a 10 on it, you already mastered it, I'm going to give you something else to start learning. Okay, so it's a way to differentiate by learning the baseline content outside of class. For example, Ms. Sluderman, I learned the table of elements at home outside of class. Okay. In class, then you can spend your time, you can take the students that are the high flyers and give them more. Get them into something deeper. Create something for them. So it helps them not get so bored. All right. Those are our two options. You okay with that? Option number one, I just went backwards in my presentation. Option number one is what we're doing right now, live streaming. Option number two is asking them to do some content outside of class. Might be a video. You know, I really did that video. I really was mowing my yard. And I really was thinking about what are we going to do? And I had my phone in my pocket. And I thought, if I don't do this now, I'm going to forget. And so I was able to do it right then. Pretty awesome. All right, let's move on. Let me check the clock. 2:15. I think we're good on time. I'm going to unshare my screen and let's have a moment for questions. Stop presenting. I just clicked stop presenting. Okay, any questions about those things? Questions, comments? Any questions or comments from the internet? Okay. All right, let's move on. Ms. Spadell. Yes, Ms. Spadell.
Okay, this is just a basic question, but when you talk about we're going to post to YouTube, we're not going to post 7 classes, are we? Would we just post 1 per subject area?
Yeah, you're getting ahead. You're getting ahead. That's like Thursday's agenda.
Okay. Well, I'll know a lot more by Thursday. I'll be quiet.
But to answer your question, no. What we're live streaming here, I may pick one. If I've recorded this 4 times a day, I may pick the best one, my favorite one, and upload it to YouTube. Okay. You're not going to upload everything to YouTube. We'll get into that on Thursday, but that's a good question, and the answer is no, not everything. Just what you choose to. And you also may create individual lessons, like just a 10-minute lesson on something, and upload this. All right? What other questions, comments? Any from the room? Any from the internet? Yes, Ms. Williams.
Yes. Will we be doing option 1 or option 2 synchronously as a faculty or asynchronously?
Okay. Wonderful use of terms.
I tried because I couldn't open your quiz and I couldn't find it and all that stuff. So I'm trying to tell you I paid attention.
Okay. You paid attention, and the question is, are we going to do it synchronously? And the answer is no. The synchronous version, yes, we're all going to do. We're all going to do what I'm demonstrating here, option 1. We're all going to do that. We're all going to do classes. We're all going to have students who attend via Meet. We're all going to record. Okay. Now, that's option 1. Option 2, you do that once you're up to speed. You know, once you're comfortable making a video and uploading it, once you're comfortable with forms and slides, and once you get up to speed. But the option 2 is up to you whenever you're ready. You did it when you made some videos on how to make a nutritious snack. That was option 2, all right? Because it was an asynchronous video that I can watch anytime, and you don't have to cover that in class. Okay. All right, any other questions, comments? Yes, Ms. Hill. Unmuting, finding the mute button. My button won't stay still either.
Sorry. Okay. Have we ever thought about, I don't know, I'm just asking, and I don't know if the scheduling would be just crazy, but like having just one total class online. Does that make sense? Like all the virtual people in one class so that you could really interact just with them. I'm just asking.
That's not a bad idea, and no, I don't know if that was discussed. Dr. Hollenbeck, are you still online? It was her team that that made these plans, so do you want to answer that?
You know, we did not talk about that. I think it's a really good idea. It kind of makes me think of, you know, some of the public school options that we've heard about where some teachers are teaching only the online kids. And that's, you know, definitely something we could think about. I had Sarah and Emily on that group with me, and we talked about, you know, trying to coordinate things during the day where we were doing things at the same time, maybe more with the kids who were online, but we couldn't figure out if you're teaching in the classroom and you got real kids sitting in front of you, it's hard to figure out the scheduling of all that, you know.
Right.
But
That's what I was wondering.
right, I see what you're saying though. It's not, I mean, that's probably something that we at least need to entertain.
Yeah,
But
just because, you know, I mean, too, for the privacy factor of the kids that are, I don't know. I was just wondering. That
Yeah,
was
okay.
something, you know, I think Tracy and I had talked about that, I think, and we were wondering about that. So,
The reality is, though, in every class, you're going to have some students that are all of a sudden, you're going to find out they're quarantine.
right.
So all of a sudden, when you thought you had everyone in one virtual class, you know, first period, all of a sudden you've got them in every period.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
It's going to be hard to pin down.
Right.
Okay. Comments, questions? Yes, Senor.
I want to offer extra time, for example, to the students answer questions. Like, you know, we have the regular class, but maybe at 5 o'clock, I'm going to be in Google Hangout. If you have questions, just come to see me.
Okay, the question is, are we going to have extra time for teachers to answer questions like schedule a Google Hangout at 5 p.m.? Do you want to answer that, Dr. Hollenbeck, or it sounds, did you catch that?
I got a little distracted there, but so the question was, are the Google Hangouts for the kids who are not here going to be scheduled? Is that
No.
what that-
Will
sorry.
we be able to schedule them at other times? Will we be able to schedule them at other times in order for students to contact us to answer questions like an office hour, for example, like a college professor?
I see what you're saying. You know, another thing that we hadn't talked a whole lot about, obviously, if we're all out together, then yes, we would definitely need to do that. For the kids who are just a small percentage who are out, I understand they would need to ask questions, but if they're sitting in the class right in front of you, couldn't they ask a question just like someone sitting right in front of you?
Yeah.
I just bring it up because without Corona, and we have the regular class, but our presenter just give us like 30 minutes. You come to the class, you know.
Yeah. Okay. Let's everybody mute, and we will take that up into discussion. I mean, there's many things we can do. Certainly, you can schedule an office hour. Boom, put it on the calendar. We're going to show you how to do that. Whether we require it of everybody, that's going to be up to Dr. Hollenbeck and Mr. Edwards. But you're pointing out that quite often students will want to hang around and ask questions. It's a great way to do that.
I'm not saying it has to be for everybody.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to present my screen and we'll move on. I think we're in the home stretch of this class. I know that you'll be relieved.
So when you said, I know we're going to talk more about Hangout, how it works. So what you talked about the taking attendance, they're adding that. Are they gonna also be adding like a button that the students can press that like alerts the teacher that someone has a question?
Yes.
That's what you're talking about.
Yeah, the question was one of the features that Google announced yesterday was the student will be able to raise their hand, you know, click a button and a little hand. Yeah, and it'll tell you. I haven't seen it yet, but they announced that. They announced attendance. They also announced breakout rooms, that if any of you have been in a Zoom conference, that the teacher can say, okay, you all go into your separate little video rooms. And that's called a breakout room. So hopefully by the end of the week, I'll be able to show you that. All right, back to the presentation. Next section, I should be sharing my screen now. If I'm not, somebody speak up. Loading. Overview of technology tools. The purpose of this section is, again, I'm not going to show you any technical how-to right now. I just want to give you an overview of the technology tools that we're going to learn here in these 4 days. What I want you to get out of this is to understand the purpose of each tool. Think of this. Let's say this wasn't technology, but I'm teaching woodworking. And I have a drill, and I have a hammer, and I have a screwdriver, and I have a plane, and I have a nail. You have to know which tool is for what, right? So if the job is to put in a screw, you don't pick up the hammer, pick up the screwdriver. All right. You have to know the purpose of each tool. Now, this is where people get tangled up quite often with technology, is not knowing the correct purpose for each thing. There's drive, slides, docs, meet, keep, mail, calendar, YouTube, and on and on and on. And I always do this. I have to do this. What's the correct tool for the job that I need? And then I go and I grab that tool. Many people get messed up and make life difficult by choosing the wrong tool. Okay, so that's the purpose is of each technology tool. That's my objective for you right now in this 5-minute presentation. Let's start first with Google Drive. The purpose of Google Drive is to store and find digital documents. That's the purpose. The first thing you need to learn is Google Drive. Because when you create a technology asset, you got to know where to find it. To know where to find it, you have to know where to put it. Okay, so that's Google Drive. The purpose of Google Drive is to store and find digital documents. Next, we're going to learn Google Slides. The purpose of Google Slides is to present material on the screen. This is a Google slide. Some people call them PowerPoints. Right? You say PowerPoint to me, I'm thinking Microsoft PowerPoint, Windows. Oh, no. Google Slide, but it's the same thing. It's the same thing. Purpose is to present material on the screen. Next one is Google Forms. Purpose of Google Forms is to do surveys and quizzes. The survey might be, what's your favorite Sonic drink? Okay, that's a survey. Quiz might be what I gave you earlier. All right, that's the purpose of a Google Forms, to do surveys and quizzes. Next, Google Calendar. The purpose of Google Calendar is to organize time and events. The reason it's events, because events occur in time. An event has time. When you plan a meeting has a certain time. So where do you do that? On your calendar. When you schedule a hangout with your students, it's going to happen at a certain time. So where will you do that? On your calendar, because of the time element. All right. Next, Google Classroom. Purpose of Google Classroom is to manage schoolwork. Manage is a fancy word for giving things out, retrieving them, finding out who did it, who didn't, giving it to some students and not others. It's to manage your schoolwork. The purpose of Google Docs is to write papers and documents. It's a word processor. That's the purpose of Google Docs. YouTube. Purpose of YouTube is to store and watch videos. So since we're going to do a lot of videos, we're going to learn how to do YouTube. Google Meet. The purpose of Google Meet is to conduct a video conference. A class is a video conference. Fax, formerly known as RenWeb. The purpose is to report the official grades. There's a lot of other things we do with it, but it's the official record. Okay, so you may put a grade in Google Classroom. The official record is fax. So we're going to work on that too, some this week. The Chromebook camera. I'm going to say the purpose is to record videos. For junior high school girls, the purpose is to put your makeup on in the morning. But for us, the purpose of the Chromebook camera is to record videos. All right. There are many other technology tools. Let's see if they've got any more. Oh, that was my last one. There's many other technology tools that you can use, and some of you do. I'm not going to start mentioning them here because I don't want you to overwhelm. But nothing makes me happier than for something to get done before I even knew about it. So you may tell me, oh, I found this great tool and I want to use it. By all means, let's use it. Okay? And there's a lot of awesome things, especially in the last 6 months, that companies have launched. Really, really good stuff. And when you find them, let's learn, let's use them. You know? But in this class, those are the basics. Are there any that I missed that anybody can think of? Okay, that's fine if you didn't, because we don't want to make this too hard. Those are the ones we're going to cover in here, and with those you can do everything that I'm doing here today and that you'll need in class. All right, in class, you're going to have a capstone project. Capstone project. I borrowed that from college, the term. You are going to record and upload a lesson with a presentation and an assessment. There are some examples on the Trinity YouTube channel. And you're not going to do this today. You're not going to do this week. You can do it later on, after, next week. And we'll put a due date on it. Sometime in July, let's say, mid-July, you need to have done this. But you're going to record and upload a lesson with a presentation and an assessment. Assessment meaning a quiz or some way that something you can grade to tell if a student got the material. Right now, there are some examples on the Trinity YouTube channel. Mr. Edwards has a great example of Glenn Miller, learning about Glenn Miller. And Ms. Schluterman had an example there on learning the table of elements. And Ms. Hurst has an example on learning to calculate proportions. Okay, so there's thinking ahead to after this class, we're going to ask you to do that. Dr. Hollenbeck and Mr. Edwards need to see this from you so they can see that we're putting all this together. All right. I'll cover that more later on. Just wanted you to know that was coming. All right, for today, for this overview, we've got 25 minutes left. I'm going to give you a quiz. I'm going to post it tonight, and you'll do it It's going to be a form quiz for you to answer to see how you did. I will post today's video and you can watch and rewatch. And before class tomorrow, I need you to complete that quiz. Also, that's it for the overview. Okay, it's been 40 minutes from a break. I'm going to take a break until 2:40, 7-minute break. And then we're going to pick up on Google Drive. We're going to go ahead and cover that topic and how to organize your class. We're going to cover that. So we have 2 more topics come back at 20 till 3. Stopping the recording, breaking till 20 to 3. 6 minutes.
Mr. West, how do you get to the YouTube channel?
Hey, Jeff, can I ask something?
Yeah.